Hello, good afternoon. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now with me, Vinny Motiwala, along with me, Cheryl D'Souza as well. Cheryl, a very good afternoon to you as well. Market surely sustaining to those gains and Nifty almost trading at the day's highest point as of now.
Absolutely a great day coming in for the markets. Everyone's glued to the screen, checking the Nifty rates and also with the match that is going to kick-start anytime now. The latest that we are getting is India has won the toss and elected to bat first. Again, New Zealand in the first semi-finals of the Cricket World Cup, which is being held in Mumbai. And yes, you can see we are here in the studios watching the markets very closely, where the markets are at the day's highest point. As Vinny said, you have Nifty that is trading with gains upwards of about 1%, almost at around 1.2% uptick coming in for the Nifty. Talking about Nifty Bank then, that was also moving in tandem with the benchmark indices. In fact, if you see the market and the print that is coming in from markets, all the sectors were actually trading with the positive bias, except pharma index. Last time I checked, that was the only sector that was in the negative territory. But for now, as you can see it on your screens, all the sectors in the positive territory, including Nifty Pharma Index. Talking about the list of gainers and losers, there are only two stocks on the Nifty index that are actually declining right now. It's Power Grid and IndusInd Bank. They are the only ones that are declining, and they are declining with cuts sub 1% as we speak. And talking about the markets then, you have Eicher Motors, Tech Mahindra, Hindalco, Wipro, LTI, Mindtree among the stocks that are gaining in trade. So that's the way how the markets are looking like at this point in time, Vinny.
Absolutely, that's how the markets are looking like. But there are a lot of individual stocks that are buzzing in trade, either on the back of news flows or on the back of technicals. On the technicals, we're joined by Ashish Kyal today from Wave Strategy Advisors. While from the research team, we have Ansh as well as Ankita joining in with us. Very good afternoon to all three of y'all as well. As always, I'll be starting with the first stock that's in focus, and that is a Yatra. Now, this stock reported its numbers. Yatra Online Limited, as we know, the company has that reported the Q2 FY24 numbers. When you look at it, the company in terms of the revenue saw a growth of around 14% on a year-on-year basis. 94 crores is what the revenue stood at. Losses seems to have widened a bit because loss came in at 1.7 crores this time versus a loss of around 0.2 crores. Maybe that's something that is keeping a bit of a pressure on the stock as well. Looking at the adjusted EBITDA, that came in at around 10 crores as well, is what the company's presentation highlights. And this time, the company has actually booked a one-time cost pertaining to the IPO related to some of the listing fees as well as ESOP, which is amounting to around 16 crores as well. So that's causing a bit of an pressure on that front. And other expenses, on the other hand, is seen a bit of a decline coming in, 23% decline on a year-on-year basis, reflecting some bit of an operating leverage maybe that could start playing out for the company. But as of now, the losses widening is something keeping a bit of a pressure on the stock price as well. As of now, down 4% in trade.
All right, moving on, let's talk about Manappuram Finance, and that one also seeing good gains on back of its earnings. In fact, the stock has jumped most in over 3 years on back of a good beat coming in for the earnings. The stock, last time I checked, had traded as high as about 10%, biggest intraday percentage gain since April 2020. The stock is actually gaining for a third consecutive session as well. Motilal has come up with a note where they say the company to not pursue loan growth at cost of compression in spreads, which will continue to drive the profitability, while Systematics is saying they're expecting a pickup in the gold loan portfolio on rising demand and firm gold prices. Remember, the company actually reported a strong set of numbers, which actually with the profit beating estimates on higher demand for gold loans. So that is what the brokerages have to say on Manappuram Finance. The stock is trading higher by about 8%.
Let's move on and talk about KPR Mills. That one has been buzzing in trade today. It's up almost 2.5%, Ashish. But the last 1 month, when you look at it, it's remained in that range of 780 to around 830 levels. Do you think this time we could cross past that 830 level and we could expect a sharper run-up for KPR Mills?
Yes, if you look at KPR Mills, I think it has shown some kind of a flat pattern formation, and the breakout is coming in today's session with huge volume. I am expecting that the stock can run up towards the level of even 870, 880 on the upside. So overall trend for KPR Mills is positive for the target of 880, and on the downside one can maintain a stop loss of 760 levels.
And moving on then, Ansh, let's talk about Protein Egov. That one actually listed in the bourses as early as this week itself. But what's the latest?
The stock has witnessed a substantial upswing in its stock performance, surging by 17% in trade today. The company made a modest debut by listing around the IPO price on its initial day, that is on 13th November, and on the second day, that is today, the stock has already marked an impressive gain of around over 30% since listing. Analysts attribute this surge to forward valuations, which were perceived to be on the lower side, making the stock more attractive to investors. Maybe this is the reason why investors and market participants seem to have responded positively to the company's growth prospect, resulting to a significant boost in its market value.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on the stock, but we also managed to actually speak to the management recently. Suresh Sethi, who's the MD and CEO at Protein Egov Technologies, where he shares about the company's expansion plans. So let's go across and listen into that.
We are expanding into new areas. Our first area of expansion is in the space of open digital ecosystems. This is largely leveraging on the underpinnings of the government policy framework, where the government is looking at national open digital ecosystems being created in multiple sectors. We are today having interventions and ODEs which are supported by the company at an infrastructure level in the space of digital commerce, mobility, health, agriculture and education, which takes us from our strong points of the BFSI sector but gets into multiple sectors for us. Similarly, on the ID services side, we are looking at a vertical integration, which is our second business foray, to build a complete digital onboarding and data allied services business, where we are also going to be leveraging our account aggregator license, which we received from the Reserve Bank of India. And third, we are looking at building a business on cloud services and InfoSec consulting. So we move from a 3 vertical to a 6 vertical business. The intent also is to take this entire unique combination of DPIs to global markets, especially to developing countries which are at a similar stage where maybe India was a decade ago.
All right, moving on then, Ankita, let's talk about Dabur India and why is this company in focus?
That's right. Dabur India is in focus, and it is in focus for all the wrong reasons. It was down 2% in trade. Now, what has happened is that the group chairman Mohit Burman and director Gaurav V. Burman have come under the scanner, and they have been named along with 32 others in an FIR in an ongoing Mahadev betting app case that has been going on, and that this complaint was lodged by Mumbai police. Now, the FIR alleges that Mohit Burman and Gaurav Burman both had links to bookies involved with match fixing. Now, the enforcement directorate is investigating the Mahadev betting app case, and that's going on. However, the Burman family has categorically denied all allegations, and the company even released a statement later refuting all allegations, and they said that they have no information about the FIR apart from what was being said in the media. The statement also added that this FIR has curiously come at a time when the Burman family is seeking to increase their existing shareholding stake of 21.24% in Religare Enterprises, and launched a legitimate open letter under the SEBI takeover code. So that's the word coming in from the Burman family. But as of now, Dabur is going to remain in focus in wake of this case.
Dabur in focus, but surely we have the word that is coming from Mohit Burman as well. And let's actually go across and listen into what more he had to say when he was talking to my colleague Ajay Sharma.
Mohit Burman and Gaurav Burman's name in FIR on this Mahadevi betting app, it is quite surprising.
So this is all malicious. There's no facts to it. We vehemently deny it, and we've issued total denial of any of this.
But I was checking out the press release which you put out. First of all, you have never met them. Nothing to do with.
I've never. I don't know any of these gentlemen. I've never met them. I've never placed a bet in my life. So there's no question of any. This is a totally maligned, being set out by the, people who are now resisting our takeover of the company.
All right, let's come to that. Yeah. So why do you think anybody would resist your taking over? And this is Religare Enterprises, a different company. This, your name and Gaurav's name cropping up in Mahadevi betting app issue in FIR, the two separate things. You think they are joined?
Absolutely. Somewhere? I mean, this is a way of showing that trying to make us weak on the fit and proper test. But after being in business for 140 years, I mean, in being in businesses that require SEBI, IRD approval, we were the first ones to get an insurance license. I've been a chairman of an insurance company for 20 years. We have a joint venture with 2 public sector banks. and a Japanese company. So all these regulatory bodies have already passed our fit and proper test. So where's the question of being questioned on that now?
Okay.
All right, moving on then. Ashish, let's talk about Intellect Design. How is this counter looking on the charts to you?
See, if you look at Intellect Design, the overall trend has been very strong on the upside, and the stock has managed to again move back up after forming a low around 666 level. So as long as 666 is intact, I think the stock is headed towards the level of 740 and maybe much higher from here on.
Okay, keeping an eye out on Intellect Design and those levels over there. Let's move on and talk about La Upala. This one is in focus on the back of its numbers as well. We're seeing the revenue saw a decline of around 34% on a year-on-year basis, coming in at just 89 crores versus last year 135 crores. Operationally, also seems like a bit of a weakness coming in for the stock performance there as well, because EBITDA margins came in at 38.6 versus a 39.4 last year. So a contraction in terms of the EBITDA margins of the company, and the bottom line of the company also has seen a decline of around 20%. So that's clearly some bit of a weakness that we've seen coming in the stock price as well after a weak set of numbers was reported by the company. La Upala down almost 6% as of now, trading at the day's lowest point.
All right, Ashish, coming to you then. Let's talk about Power Industries and how is this one looking on the charts to you right now?
See, Apar Industries showed a very good secular run in past 1 year. If you look at it, the stock has run up from nearly around 1400 levels, now trading at 5,500, and there is no stopping here. I think the stock consolidated over past months, formed a good bottoming pattern, looked like an accumulation happened again at 5,200, and the stock is ready to move towards the level of 6,300 on the upside. So the overall tone for Apar Industries is bullish for the target of 6,300. With the stop loss, one can maintain at 5,200 levels.
All right, moving on, let's talk about ASK Automotive. Remember that two-wheeler part maker ASK Automotive actually made its debut on the bourses today. 12% up move is what the stock actually registered on day one, 314.5 rupees per share. Versus the issue price of around 282 rupees per share. ASK Automotive actually makes safety controls and also above its IPO price so far in the session, as you can see it on your screen. Remember the fact that the IPO was oversubscribed 51.1 times, and the company's promoter or the large shareholders who can influence company policy sold shares worth up to about 834 crore rupees. Axis Capital as well as ICICI Securities were among the book running lead managers for this particular IPO. And as you can see, strong debut coming in for ASK Automotive, 10% uptick right now as we speak.
Let's move on and talk about Oil India then on the charts. Ashish, in the last 1 month, a very subdued performance that has come in from Oil India. Now what are the charts indicating for this one?
If you look at Oil India, today we had a good gap up opening, and yes, it was not doing anything over past 1 month or so, but it retraced nearly around 38% of the rise, and now looking ready to again give a resumption on the upside in the form of wave third. So Oil India looks bullish to me as of now. On the downside, the support for the stock is at 308, which is also the 20 days average, and on the upside, we can expect it to move towards the level of 350.
All right, moving on, let's just quickly take a note of what's the flashes on the bottom of your screen. You have the October trade data that has actually hit the exchange, agencies right now. You have the exports that has risen about 6.2% on a year-on-year basis. You have imports that has risen by about 12.3% on a year-on-year basis. If you look at the trade deficit, it has widened more than that was expected. They expected the trade deficit to widen by about $20 billion or so. It's coming at around $31.46 billion. So that is the trade deficit, trade data coming for the month of October. But moving on, Ansh, let's talk about Narayana Hrudayalaya and how are the numbers for this one?
So the Narayana Hrudayalaya is up 4% in trade today. Company reported robust financial performance with a year-on-year revenue increase of 14%, reaching to 1,305 crore. The net profit stands at 226 crore, reflecting a significant growth of 34% on year-on-year basis. Company reported EBITDA of 327 crore, showing a notable increase of 18.8%. Also, company's EBITDA margin improved to 25%, which is up by 94 basis points. Also, if you see the stock chart, the stock has given a decisive breakout from its downward sloping resistance trend line. In addition to that, stock has even touched record high levels today.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, and that is Soba. This one is in focus on the back of charts. And Ashish, when you look at it last 5 days, surely seen a very good uptick of 12%. Even in the last 6 months, that company has continued to keep that momentum of gains. Do you think this is going to be sustaining for the stock price?
Yes, if you look at the overall space and the overall sector, I think the sector has been doing exceptionally well. And Soba especially has managed to form a low around 680, showed a very sharp run up, and as of now there is no divergence that we can see even on the indicators. The momentum is still intact, and I think it's an opportunity to keep on nibbling into this stock for the target on the upside at around 920 levels, and on the downside the support for the stock is placed at 820.
All right, moving on. Ankita, let's talk about Kalyan Jewellers and why is this particular counter in focus today?
It is in focus today on the back of earnings, and they've posted a rather good set of numbers. At least that's the word coming in from the management as well. But the stock was up in trade today 3%, but right now it is seeing a bit of a sell-off, probably profit booking at this point. It is down 1.5% in trade. But let's quickly go across and see the set of numbers that have come in. It has reported a 27% rise in its second quarter profit, helped by the rising domestic demand for its ready-to-wear jewelry line and increased traffic at the stores ahead of the festive season. Now, it's in its India operations, the biggest in terms of revenue contribution, saw a revenue growth of about 32%. Its Middle East operations saw a jump of 5% in revenue as Eid holidays really drove up the sales. Now, the Ramesh Ramakalyanaraman, who's the executive director of Kalyan Jewellers, he also mentioned that they were extremely excited about the way the festive quarter has progressed for them so far, and the company is also expecting to add a robust momentum in both footfalls and revenue across all markets in the second half of FY24 as well. So net worth, a positive commentary coming in from the management as well.
Okay, that is Kalyan Jewellers for you. Let's keep an eye on that one. But let's move on and talk about KNR Constructions. This one is in focus on the back of its numbers as well. When you look at it in terms of overall the consolidated numbers, revenue saw growth of around 8%, while in terms of the margins, that saw contraction, a sharp contraction that came in terms of the margins. So operating performance, we saw weakness coming in because EBITDA margins just came in at 22.3% versus 27.4%. So yes, around a 400 to 500 basis point contraction in terms of the margins of the company. Profits of the company, on the other hand, also saw actually a bit of an uptick there. But yes, other than that, operationally, a weak set of numbers that came in from the company. That's why a very, very subdued move that you're seeing in the stock price today as well.
All right, moving on. Ashish, let's talk about Ajanta Pharma. No doubt, Pharma is taking it easy in today's trading session. It's the only sector that's actually gaining the lead. But what's your take coming on Ajanta Pharma on the charts? Technically, this one is poised to go higher.
Yes, Ajanta Pharma is showing a very strong rise. If you can see, the stock is at the day's high, and also the volumes are picking up as we speak, and the overall trend is positive. So the one can create long positions in Ajanta Pharma. On the downside, one can maintain a stop loss of 1890 and expecting a target of 2100.
All right, and as just mentioned earlier, is the first semi-finals today, India versus New Zealand. We all here and in the studios actually, but as we are counting down to the mega semi-final clash, in fact, not counting down, that's all set to begin between India versus New Zealand. The cricket fever is hitting its peak. My colleague Astha Chopra is standing outside Wankhede Stadium. Let's go across to her and see how's the Josh on the ground. Astha, over to you.
Well, we are at the Wankhede Stadium and it's full of chaos. Thousands of people are swapping in from across the country. Not only India, we have people across London, UK, US, Australia. People is coming here. We are here today for the semi-finals between India and New Zealand. And after winning all the 9 league matches of India, now it's paved the way to semi-finals. And we are here with the fans who are from London. Thank you so much everyone for joining with us. How's the Josh? People have come across from London. Okay, so how's the Josh? What is the enthusiasm for watching the semi-finals today?
Oh, come on, man. It's a semi-final. We're in India. They're playing in Mumbai, obviously the greatest city in India itself. It's going to be an awesome match. They're going to win, and they're going to go on Sunday to Ahmedabad.
What do you think? Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli are breaking records continuously. Do you think that
And they're going to break a huge amount more today. They're going to score 100 pluses, each one of them, in the semi-final and knock New Zealand out. That's it.
Great. So do you think that they will go to finals this time?
Yes, definitely.
And ma'am, you are here. Please tell us how enthusiastic are you watching the cricket now?
I'm really, I just can't express my words. And I've come all the way from London just to watch the semi-finals and the finals. So just really looking forward. And come on, Virat and Kohli!
Thank you. So how's the enthusiasm?
Absolutely. No words at all. That's it. We are here. That's all.
You've flown across the country. What is your schedule? Sleepless nights, enthusiastic?
That's right. Yeah, we just arrived this morning, and now we are here straight and flying back to Ahmedabad tomorrow, waiting for Sunday. Yeah.
Come on, India. Sunday. We'll see you on Sunday.
We must see you on Sunday. Come on.
Clearly, the josh is very high outside the stadium as well, hoping to start the match soon, and we'll be keeping an eye out on that. But we're going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more stocks after the break.